Imagine living in a time when your people were treated as slaves every single day. They worked from sunrise to sunset, building cities for a king who cared nothing about them. This was the life of the Israelites in Egypt. The king of Egypt, Pharaoh, became afraid because the Israelites were growing in number. He feared that one day they might become stronger than Egypt itself. Out of fear, he made a cruel law: every Hebrew baby boy was to be killed at birth. But one mother refused to give up on her son. She hid her baby for 3 months. Every day was filled with fear that someone would hear his cries. When she could no longer keep him hidden, she made a small basket, coated it so it would float, placed her baby inside, and gently set it among the reeds along the Nile River. Then she prayed. Not long afterward, Pharaoh's own daughter came to the river to bathe. She noticed the basket, opened it, and found a crying baby. Her heart was filled with compassion. Even though she knew he was a Hebrew child, she decided to raise him as her own son. She named him Moses, meaning drawn out of the water. As Moses grew up, he lived in the luxury of Pharaoh's palace. He wore the finest clothes, received the best education, and had everything a prince could want. Yet deep inside, he knew he wasn't truly Egyptian. His real people were still suffering as slaves. One day, while walking among the workers, Moses saw an Egyptian beating a Hebrew slave. Anger filled his heart. Looking around and seeing no one watching, he struck the Egyptian and killed him. He buried the body in the sand, hoping no one would ever know. But the secret didn't stay hidden. When Pharaoh learned what Moses had done, he ordered his death. Moses had no choice but to run for his life. He fled far into the wilderness until he reached the land of Midian. There, everything changed. The prince of Egypt became a shepherd. He married a woman named Zipporah, started a family, and spent about 40 years taking care of sheep. The exciting life of the palace was gone. Day after day, he wandered through the quiet desert. Perhaps he thought God had forgotten him. But God was preparing him. One ordinary day, while leading his flock near Mount Horeb, Moses noticed something strange. A bush was on fire, yet it wasn't burning up. Curious, he walked closer. Then he heard a voice. "Moses, Moses," he answered, "Here I am." The voice said, "Do not come any closer. Take off your sandals, because you are standing on holy ground." It was God. God told Moses that he had seen the suffering of his people and had chosen Moses to lead them out of Egypt. Moses was terrified. "Who am I to do this?" he asked. "I can't speak well." But God replied, "I will be with you." God even appointed Moses' brother Aaron to help him speak. So Moses returned to Egypt, the place he had escaped decades earlier. Standing before the mighty Pharaoh, Moses boldly declared God's message, "Let my people go." Pharaoh laughed and refused. Then God began to display his power. The Nile River turned into blood. Frogs covered the land. Gnats and flies filled the air. Disease struck livestock. Painful boils appeared on people's skin. Hail destroyed crops. Locusts devoured what remained. Darkness covered Egypt for 3 days. Still, Pharaoh refused. Finally came the last plague. Every firstborn son in Egypt would die. But God instructed the Israelites to sacrifice a lamb and place its blood on their doorposts. That night, death passed over every house marked by the blood. Broken by grief, Pharaoh finally surrendered. "Go," he said. Hundreds of thousands of Israelites packed their belongings and walked out of Egypt as free people. But freedom wasn't yet secure. Soon Pharaoh changed his mind and chased them with his army.